the game finished. Baka Topola 0, West Ham United 1. In what I think, John, you'll agree, was a magnificent exhibition of pure football by the boys.
Yeah.
Tactically beautiful. I mean, the attacking play was out of this world, wasn't it? I mean, the way we carved them open.
I mean, some would claim that would go down as another Moyes masterclass.
I think it was. Yeah, because it's mission accomplished, isn't it? You know, they're giants of Europe. You know, Serbia. You know, Serbian's a major European country in football terms, right?
Yeah.
And you don't underestimate him. Don't underestimate him. It's cold out there, right? We had
cold here watching that.
I know we had several internationals missing, you know, but that was a struggle. So I see why Moyes lined up as to not take too many risks. Bang on. He got that bang on, I tell you. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. To be honest with you, mate, we're obviously being sarcastic. It made the Burnley game look absolutely fucking fantastic. And I know people are going to come up with all this. Yeah, but we didn't have this one. We didn't have that one.
Oh,
that team today. I don't care what anyone says. On paper, that team today should have took the game to this team who are sitting third in the Serbian league. Third, not even fucking top. They're third in the Serbian league. With all due respect to any Serbians watching, you know, I can't imagine. It's depressing. I mean, look, Ben here, look. It is absolutely depressing. And I am an over-optimistic West Ham fan. I've been accused many times of being half glass full, right? Yeah. And I can't take any positives from that. Well, I can. I'll take one positive from that. And that was the fact that Divin started. You know what happened in the time the game went on? He looked shit because he got absolutely no service. And that's what my concern is with him, you know?
Yeah, but strikers are just someone to run around and chase defenders to David Moyes. You know, that's what Antonio does. He don't really score goals, does he, anymore? Ings, go and chase some defenders, son. Mabama, I was watching him. First time. All he was doing was chasing defenders. That's all he was doing. He was trying to get somewhere near the ball, right? He tried to get near the ball. Couldn't get near it. No. So that's Haller, Skamaka, Antonio, Ings, and now Mabama, used in exactly the same way. Go on, son, up there on your own. I ain't going to give you any service, but you might get a knockdown. Same might not come off.
I don't know at what point are we going to come up against opposition where David Moyes has faith in his team to take the game to these teams. You know. Look, I'm not slagging Moyes off, and I know people are going to come out and go, yeah, but this, that, and the other won the trophy. I'm past caring now.
Yeah.
Look, I know he's here till the end of the season, right? He's not going to get sacked. And to be honest with you, I'm prepared for him to be at the end of the season. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to review games honestly and openly.
That's the problem.
That's it. It was shit.
That is the problem, John. We run a channel, right? We run a channel and we have to actually talk about the football. And that's what people don't seem to understand. When you talk about a game of football, you got to talk about how the football game went, right? Mm-hmm. And for the last several games, how are we going to dress it up? Or are we just going to say, oh, what a great result and not mention the detail? I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about the detail, isn't it?
I mean, it is about the detail, 100%, mate, 100%. We've said it so many times in the past, mate, yeah? Our lack of winning trophies since we've been watching West Ham means the only real thing we've got out of watching West Ham is entertainment. And if you haven't got entertainment, it's never going to take away the cup-winning moment, you know, back last season. But there comes a point now where I'm struggling. I'm really, really struggling to watch my team, the team that I love. It's fucking doing my head in. Absolutely.
We usually have to pay a penance when we do something good. Like when we have a great season, it's followed by a shit season. You know, when we win a cup, we get relegated or something like that, right? It's always you never generally have a good season followed by a good season. Doesn't happen. So this is our penance. We have to sit through this shit for the rest of this season. Frankly, it ain't worth watching. And I'm dreading going to watch us against Crystal Palace on Sunday. I mean, we're going to get beat. We are beating the shit of the Premier League. All right. With the early exceptions of Brighton and Chelsea, right? Good start to the season, wasn't it? I was elated when I come back from Brighton.
Yeah.
Delighted when we somehow beat Chelsea the following week. But since then, that was a long time ago now. Since then, he's all we've beaten is shit.
Mate, it's just, you know what the thing is, Gal.
Lost to everyone.
I said it the other day, mate.
Yeah.
I love shit ass in wins against the big teams. I love nothing more than that, because it's like a double fuck you. Like, we were shit, but we still beat you.
Yeah.
But we should not be shit ass in wins. With all due respect, against Burnley, who haven't won a home game all season, against Baka Topola, who sound like a fucking Turkish dessert, and a third in the Serbian league. You know, it's not disrespectful to think that we should be better than that.
It's the fucking dog and duck we just played, isn't it? Right? Yeah. And we scraped a 1-0 win against the dog and duck, courtesy of another Souček finish. Listen, he's scoring goals, doing really well. That's why I said might as well play him as a striker, right? Because he could do that job that Moyes gets strikers to do, just chase defenders around. He could do that. And at the same time, he could lurk around in the box waiting for a header, right? He's a perfect Moyes striker. You ain't got to be a proper striker to be a Moyes striker, right? Yeah. That's why he turned so many wingers into strikers.
Yeah, no. It's the problem is, and we sort of spoke about it on WhatsApp briefly, didn't we?
Yeah.
The problem is, which I see, is that you have a squad, okay? And when those squad players, i.e. Fornals, Benny, Johnson, Cresswell, when those players have an opportunity to start a game like today, they should be taking the ball by the horns. Now, you can blame the players until the cows come home. But if you don't use the squad properly, or squad players feel that they have no real opportunity of breaking into the first team, then are they really going to grasp the opportunity that as and when they get it?
Yeah. They're not, right? Because we'll come to you in a minute, Barney. But the thing is, these players are obviously lacking motivation because they don't get used apart from in emergencies, right? And or for a minute at the end of a game, 2 minutes at the end of the game, like he's been doing with Fornals and stuff like that. And if you remember back to Fornals' route through this season, he played the first game away to Bournemouth that we should have won. He played really well. Next game, Will Prowse arrived, and he hasn't seen a first team start since in the Premier League. It just dropped out of sight, out of mind, and he's not in the little core group anymore.
No,
and that's why he's hurting.
I'm just going to address this comment from Stretford United. You know, we've got no shame in putting up comments and that. John, I can tell you don't agree with the views of Gareth. I think he means you. You don't have to fake the reaction. I'm not faking the reaction, because one thing I don't do is, I tell it as it is. And this is the worst performance I've seen this season. It doesn't matter how you dress it up with all the players we haven't got there, like Alvarez or Antonio, who's been shit anyway this season. But it doesn't matter how you dress it up. That was piss poor. And I agree with Danny Moore. That was the worst game of football I've seen this season, if not for a very, very, very long time.
If you enjoyed that game of football you just watched, you don't fucking like football, do you?
No, exactly. And I wouldn't like the West Ham way. And this is the thing. The thing about the West Ham way is true, because that's all we ever had hope for, is the West Ham way. Entertaining. It has to be entertaining. Otherwise, you've got nothing.
Well, that's what we were brought up on, and now apparently we're being fucking, we're having all that. The entertainment gene has been extracted, shredded, minced, and now we've just got to watch the same fucking approach every week, the same negative nonsense. Don't matter who we play against, could be the worst team in the world. We'll draw someone in the FA Cup like a League Two side at home. We'll play the same way, right? We ain't going to play with freedom, And again, I'll stick my neck out here, but do you think we're going to go up to Liverpool and go for them?
No. To be honest with you, mate. To be honest with you, Gal, if we play like that against Palace, we're in trouble on Sunday.
Yeah, we will, because we get it on the break all the bloody time, right? Yeah. And exactly what you're right what you just said about the players that never get a chance. They get thrown in emergencies. You remember that last, the last European game away to Olympiacos, where he brought in all those players for their first game in ages all together. None of them probably totally match fit because they ain't played first team matches. They all know they're not wanted. And Moyes, in his interview, he didn't say, "Oh, these boys are playing for a place in the first team," which is what he should have said. He said, "Oh yeah, my first team players need a rest." What sort of message does that send out?
No.
Listen, I can't say anything more than I've said about David Moyes. I cannot stand the bloke. He's ruining this club for, I would say, the majority of fans, right? I think it's safe to say, because you don't meet many. I mean, you've only got to look at, I don't do Twitter anymore, but when you look at the comments that we get on the videos, you look at the Twitter responses when you put something positive out, it is like 80, 90% good, agrees with you, versus 10% who want to just fucking call you every name under the sun, or say they're going to give you slap over West Ham next time they see you. Yeah, and all that sort of stuff, right? I can't stand it. I hate the fan base being divided like this, but divided it will be. And what will happen next, I suspect, is when he does fuck off at the end of the season at last, once we've sat through all this shit, right? When he goes, the next manager only has to lose a game, and that lot will be piping up again about bringing him back.
Yeah, Black Country Hammers hit the nail on the head here. And I know Nick said something earlier on in the week on Twitter, which he got lambasted for, but I sort of understand where they're coming from. Yeah. Obviously, they don't want the season to just end. But is
that Stratford United making a fucking pest of himself?
Fuck
off. Go away.
But Black Country Hammer says, I don't want to wish my life away.
Yeah.
But rolled on next summer and he's gone. And this is the thing he's got to. And this is what we were concerned would happen. You know, he won us the trophy. I know it's difficult to walk away when you've won something, maybe, but I just felt he could have gone out on a high and avoided all the negativity he's going to get now. And people can say you don't have to be negative against the manager. People can say you've got to get behind the manager. And I will always get behind the manager. But I cannot get behind the manager after the Burnley performance and tonight. Even though we won, it was shocking.
Of course you can't. And it goes for pretty much every performance of the season, going back to the first game, John, right? Apart from Brighton, every single game, every one of them has been like this. Same thing. When we're taking the lead, we sat back. Invariably, we've gone behind. We tend to play better when we go behind for some reason, right?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
No, I don't get it, mate. It's a good question here from Irons for Life. And I know what I think to this, but I'll let you answer this one. It says, do you think Moyes will go if we don't win a game in December?
Probably not, because Sullivan is, I think, looking at one thing. Sullivan is, I don't think he cares about the football style. He cares about the business side, as does Brady, and it's all about staying up. We ain't going down. Right? We ain't going to go down because those teams down the bottom are god-awful. And we're lucky this year that you probably only need 30 points to stay up. We've got 20 already. We ain't going anywhere, right? We will pick up a few points in December. It won't be many, but we'll pick up a few. We have got that big game against Freiburg, which we'll probably win. I hope we do. We're at home to them. We should. They're not big German team, are they? We should beat them.
What do we need? We need just a draw to finish top, yeah? And that's all we need.
We do. That's all we need. And when you look at the other games, I mean, look, it makes me wince. Even with Spurs and all their injuries, they're still really putting on a show, Spurs. And they've lost a couple of games. They've lost them very narrowly, right? They have got a lightning. They never change the way they play. It's a lightning attacking game. High press. We're going to hate playing them. Hopefully it'll play into our hands a little bit and Kudus will get free, maybe with a chance or two. Who knows? But I know one thing. We're always going to concede against all these teams. We concede against every team, apart from Bakatopola. We concede against every single team we play against and in the Premier League. And I just want to remind you what I said earlier. We have not beaten anything but the rubbish in this league, and I don't mean that disrespectful, right? I mean in terms of quality compared to the rest, right? There are a few down the bottom that are really struggling. They're the ones we beat. We've beaten all three of them, right? The ones that are going down again, and then we've beaten Forest, who are struggling, right? And then I've got a lot of respect for Forest, and then we've beaten can't remember who else, right? But then apart from that, we've lost to Villa. Away, got trounced. We beat them at their place last year. We've lost to Everton at home. We beat them last year at our place. So it's kind of we found our level. We started off when there was a slow start from Brighton, and now they're more consistent and winning games. There was a very slow start from Chelsea, and they're still having a bit of an intermittent time. Right, we caught them at the right time. Be under no illusions. But this could have started so much better this season. You go back to Bournemouth. Had we tried to win that game at Bournemouth and not sat on a 1-0 win, a 1-0 lead. We could have won it. We would have won it 2-3-0. Then you go into the next great game with a bit more confidence.
Of course.
But But it is just soul destroying, and I hate this season. I really do. Barney Rubble, what he was saying earlier, 6th no good, 7th no good, winning the cup no good. Yeah, it's all past though, Barney. That's the past. You got to look at the future and what's happened since the start of this season, right? He's not a serial cup winner. He ain't going to win another cup. If he does and he got another contract, I think I fucking give up supporting West Ham, right? Because
you wouldn't, but I know what you mean.
No, honestly, I do not want that fucker to have a chance, a hope in hell of staying at this club. And I would never say that about any other manager in our history, because winning trophies and winning silverware, that's all I want to do, apart from being entertained, right? It's what you dream of. But to think that fucker has had, we have to sit back and praise at the altar of David Moyes after Lucas Paqueta, who is now stuck out on the left wing, and Jared Bowen, who wouldn't sign a contract until starting got involved, rescued him and nicked that cup in the dying embers of that game. A game that wasn't exactly a tactical masterclass, was it? We should have lost that game. Let's not dress this up, because last season was a disaster, right? And then we nicked a cup. Well done. Well done. Yeah. He should have gone. That doesn't make him a serial fucking cup winner, that we've won a cup that we were favourites to win, right? So, don't give me all that. That's keeping it very high level, that detail. And we finished 6th. Lockdown. Jesse Lingard. We finished 7th. Well, yeah, we should have finished 6th, right? We threw it away, and we should have got to the final Europa League that year. We threw it away by not signing anybody in January, right? Been mistakes all the way through. So, yeah. So it ain't all be, the high level stats, they look quite respectable. And when you look back in the history books, it'll probably look all right. Yeah. But to have lived through the last season and this season, that is too much for me. I've never considered giving up my season ticket, John. You, I've kept it year on year on year, no matter what's gone on. But one thing that's always happened, even under Kerbishley, for half a season, you got entertainment. The other half, it was boring, right? I've never seen an entire season and last season executed in this way, and it is destroying me, right? As a West Ham fan, I can't stand it. I'd rather walk away than watch another season of this shit.
And there's been some comments in the chat regarding our squad. I've lost the one I pinpointed, but I do apologise.
Yeah.
But basically, someone in the chat said this proves that our squad is not as good as people think. And John Morgan's hit a fantastic point to counter that. Pretty much what I was going to say to some extent. Yeah. He says, we've got a fantastic squad of players, but they've had enough of Moyes' cowardly approach to playing football. It's pathetic how we set up. Now, look, I'm not going to agree with that massively in terms of cowardly approach, but you can only look at the performances on the pitch. If you're a professional player and you trust in your own abilities, i.e. Paqueta, and you have flair in that, there does come a point when you would have had enough. Now, I'm hoping people like, Fornals, who we know absolutely loves the fan base, who absolutely loves the club, but for whatever reason, and let's not dress it up, he is not performing. And when he gets the opportunity like tonight, he is dross. Now, I'm not going to say that that's because he's a shit player, and I'm not going to say that that's because he's down tools. For some reason, he is not feeling the love, right? And every player is different. And this is what you're seeing. This is why the squad, because the squad is better than we had last year. 100%. We replaced Rice with 3 midfielders.
Yeah.
Kudos, Alvarez, and Paqueta. And the problem is that the squad players are not feeling part of it. That can only be the reason behind it, or they feel they've got no chance. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but that's why our squad is looking shit, because they don't feel like a squad. I'm sorry.
After the players don't feel wanted, they're excluded in the other group. He keeps his little group of 14 players together. They're his first boys, right? The rest of them, they're just reserves. They sit in the background. Fornals has joined that little group. I think it's the first time he's been in the group outside of the core group, and it's destroyed him, because start of the season, he started the first game against Bournemouth. JWP joins, he's out of the core group, right? That's the way it works. He can't take it. He hasn't got the character to take it. He's not a hard ass, Fornals. Can I just say, there's a thing here from Mandy. Who would I like to see as next manager? Well, look, I'm very, very open-minded about this. I mean, honestly, I watched this this video. It's on the Hammers chat with an interview with Charlie and what's his name, Callum from anyway, one of the stats guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, very, very interesting, enlightening. He was talking about a specific manager, one of the Reals. I think it was Real Sociedad, if I'm right, doing really, really well. But what this guy does is he plays a system which is just designed for the players we've got, right? And the best thing that I really liked about this system, John, it wasn't all the great stuff up the front end of the pitch. You know what it does with fullbacks? He just tells them to sit there and defend.
Yeah.
No overlapping fullbacks.
Yeah.
Don't turn defenders into your main attack. Yeah. And you know what? You remember back to when Ben Johnson, I was reminiscing through this game tonight when I could stay awake. When Ben Johnson first came into the team, we said about him that when he stayed back and defended, he was really solid. He wouldn't let anyone past him. He was a really tight-ass right back. Then he started to get forward. He's awful at getting forward, even though he used to be a winger. I can't understand it. But he gets himself out of position so easily when he runs off up the pitch. And I think we saw that again today. Guy seems to he can't play that role. But maybe he would be useful in that other kind of role. But he won't be here in the next year anyway. He'll be fine.
Let's just get this on. Sorry to interrupt you, but Alfie online, just going back to Mandy's comment, I guess. This is sort of to counter that. That's your opinion, Mandy. But can't we say we only came 7th and should have reached the Europa final? What? How about what an incredible win that was against Sevilla? Great. It was, Alfie. But in the same breath, mate, do you not feel that to some extent these things have been papering over the cracks? I'm like you, Alfie, right? I'm optimistic, and you seem like an optimistic kid and you're always looking for the positives. But you have to be realistic, mate. The football is dross, and it has been for some time. No?
I can't believe if you like this. I can't believe if you enjoy watching this that you actually like football, right? You can't take anything from this. There's nothing to take from it, right? You might as well turn up with 10 minutes to go and watch the last 10 minutes, right? You've seen the best bit of the last 3 games, wouldn't you? 4 games. Olympiacos as well. Olympiacos, Forest, Burnley, and tonight we've won those games right at the end. Now put that down to being a fucking masterclass, or put it down to being dross against dross opposition.
I just wonder. This is the thing, right? The divide is so strong that I feel that the Moyes. I'm sort of. If we was playing good football, I'd still support Moyes, right? And I don't want him to get sacked because I think it's going to ruin him, right? And I know he's here till the season ends, but I'll mark the games accordingly, like I said, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is we are so split that the Moyes in, Moyes in, and the really Moyes out. It seems like they can't be truthful with performances, or can't be truthful.
They gaslight you all the time.
Keep harping back to our opinions. We have to give credit where credit's due. We have to give credit where credit's due. But we also have to judge it poorly when it is fucking poor.
We have to call it out, right? We have to call it out. What happened? I mean, literally, what happened today? What can you take from that game? What individual performance can you take from that game and say that bloke played well? I think maybe Mavropanos did well. Fabianski did well, right? I think Aguerd did all right. Who else? I think Souček looked industrious in the midfield.
Well, Souček does what Souček does, right?
And then he scored the goal at the end.
We've had three last minute winners now, haven't we? In the last 3
4.
games?
I think we beat Olympiacos in the last minute, Forest in the last minute, Burnley in the last minute, and now these in the last minute.
Don't get me wrong. There's nothing better than a great last minute winner.
Yeah, but four
in a game
that's entertaining, 4 last minute winners against crap. And I ain't even joking. Apart from Forest, I won't say they're crap. Olympiacos, Burnley, and Bakatopola, last minute winners. Come on. Don't dress this up as some masterclass. That is more luck than judgment. That is not planned. That is playing a lottery ticket. Your lottery tickets come up. It ain't going to come up every week.
Chris Lockwood disagrees with you, Gal. He says, no one enjoys the football, but you're going over the top, saying that you wouldn't support West Ham if they win another trophy.
I'll always support West Ham, Chris. I'll always support West Ham. As if I can unsupport West Ham, Chris.
I think you said you wouldn't want Moyes to stay, would you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. If he won a trophy, he's still got to go. But he ain't winning another trophy anyway, right? No, I can't unsupport West Ham, Chris. What do you think we run this channel for? We're fucking West Ham fanatics.
Well, that's the problem sometimes. It makes you a bit like...
And as for that other thing about fullbacks that don't get forward, I can't believe it. I've seen everything now. Go and watch the video that I'm referring to and that manager and the way he plays, right? And see what he does down the top half of the pitch from the midfield onwards, right? See what he does. If that doesn't inspire you, Alfie, right? You might learn
There's
something.
no
Go and look at
West
it.
Ham United history. There's no divide. It's until the season is over. So we
Yeah,
just get on with it. There is a
yeah,
divide. I would disagree with that. I mean, I don't get involved in Twitter so much and things like that. But I've seen not just with Nick and Gary, but I've seen people go at each other on Twitter, and some of the
yeah.
things that are said are bordering on like fucking nasty. So there is a divide, and
Some
there
of
seems to
it,
be
some of them are
an
bordering on illegal,
unwillingness.
John. Some of them are
Well,
bordering on
it's not just
illegal. You know
Moyes
what I
in
mean?
people, but also Moyes. There
Yeah,
are no, but there are some Moyes out people that are like this.
yeah,
They
yeah.
cannot
I know,
take anyone else's opinion on board.
I know.
You can't do that in football. You've got to listen to people's opinions, whether you agree with them or not. But
Yeah.
it just starts getting a little
Hold
bit
on, let me
arsy with
just.
some of the things you say.
There's Chris. So many of our players have regressed. Benny has stand out. Yeah, I agree with this. Right, Benny has gone. Who's at fault? It's obviously Moyes at fault, but all those players have gone backwards. Benny was a regular in the team last year. Now we know he's never had any final ball. He looks a pale shadow of himself this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think he's gone.
Oh, sorry, John gone.
I think he's
Yeah,
gone, Benny.
I think he's gone as well. Like his Fullnails. Fullnails' head's not in it, clearly, right? So he knows he's just there as a gap filler, right?
Yeah.
You know.
I think, well, the thing is with Benny, the sniffing around from the Saudi
Yeah.
clubs is coming back and forward. So
And this is the thing, right? This Barney, right? I get Gary agree with a lot of what you say about Moyes' achieved for us in his tenure, which I think is easy. No, I'm not glossing over what he's achieved. I respect what he's achieved. Great, sixth, seventh cup, brilliant. Now go, because now he's trying to implement what is the nightmare horror story of his Everton tactics in full, which is why he wanted those other couple of players, Harry Maguire and McTominay. And you know what? You know the way Fornals has been bumped out of the inner circle and he's sitting there twiddling his thumbs, not feeling part of it and feeling sad and his head's gone, right? Had he got McTominay, you know who that would have been? It would have been Souček out of the inner circle. He has no loyalty to any players.
I don't think Souček would ever be at the circle.
No,
But,
he wouldn't. That was who he was buying him to replace.
Yeah, and the thing is, and this is not again the calling out of Souček, because Souček has won us a few games recently. So
yes, no. I'm using that as an example as saying Moyes ain't even loyal to him, and he's his favourite player, right?
I think this is where I stand. Mancunian Hammer. This is pretty much me, right? I'm a Moyes fan. I think what he has done for us is brilliant. But we can't keep enduring this, and he has to take overall responsibility. I dread watching these games. That is pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, bang on, man.
Where I'm at.
I agree.
Because look, I've had arguments with Nick before. I have with some of the, with the whole Moyes thing. Of course, I have. And there just comes a point, and surely people are at that point now where they can see that his time is up. And the thing is, I don't mean today or tomorrow, because it ain't going to happen.
No.
He's here to the end of the season. I
totally agree. I totally agree with you. Honestly, this is the most. Let's take a couple of comments and read through the comments because I'm lost for words for once.
Right, let me find some comments. Hang on, let's go up. Right, where should we go? Here we go. Let's go back.
Can I just tell you what I did in the first half, John? In the first half, I was so bored that I was sat there and I was looking at my glasses like this, right? I was looking at I spotted a rogue scratch that I hadn't seen before. I sat there for 15 minutes buffing it out, right? And it's still there. And I looked up.
You was transfixed by your glasses, not the game.
Yeah. The first thing I remember seeing when I looked up was Cresswell crossing to their striker.
Oh yeah, that was when he got it from Fabs. He could have gone down the line, went back inside. Yeah, nearly played their striker in. So let's get on to some comments. Colin Miller.
Yeah.
A lot of the comments are going to be down the same line, really, isn't they? So if you've got any questions, people, put them in, whatever you want to ask within reason.
I said to John before we came on the show, I said, look, let's be light-hearted, take it with a pinch of salt. I'll just get dragged down. I'll get dragged down. Just talking about
Colin Miller says, absolute dog shit the way we play now. Trouble is, Moyes has got 9 lives, hasn't he? You watch, will fizzle out after Christmas, out of the cups, mid-table mediocrity.
I said at the beginning of the season this would be like Sam Allardyce's last season, where he spent a fair bit of money, and if you look back, he spent he bought some good players like Sacco and whatever else in the summer, and then we were top of the league pretty much with Allardyce, top 6 all the way about 4th, 3rd, and then Christmas came. We made no signings in January. We just went because Sullivan let him know that he was out there in the summer, and I think that's why he tried to retract it a few weeks ago, right? But that's what I expect Sullivan to spend no money in January, because he only spends when we need to stay up, because he looks at it as a business. It's like he looks at it as no return on his investment, right?
No, Do you think there's an element of we're all sort of treading water? And what I mean
Yeah,
by that is, because the story that Moyes is not getting a new contract came out and it got quickly retracted by whoever. So Moyes knows he's going. The
yeah,
players know he's going. The fans know he's going.
yeah.
So is anyone really giving it their all? It's
I
like
don't think so.
it's a bit of a it's a bit of a treading water situation, isn't it?
Well,
Because
if they were giving it their all, would we have just edged by one goal, courtesy of Souček's excellent strikes,
well,
by
yeah,
all
but
these four poor teams?
no, but look, as Gadsy says here, you can't get a few minutes of game time a month and be able to have
Of
any
course you
form.
can't. There's no
No.
match fitness whatsoever. You don't know the players you're playing with, because don't forget there are new players that have come into the side since
Yeah,
Fornell's lost his place in the side. Takes a while to build up the chemistry, doesn't it?
yeah.
Um,
Fred the Hammer says the whole display was a shambles. When is Sullivan going to say enough is enough?
uh,
Well, I mean,
uh,
he
End
has.
of the
He has
season.
by saying he's not getting a new contract, doesn't he? He
End of the
has said it,
season.
really.
What I hope is, and this is my hope, is that we do things properly. And usually, when a director of football appoints a coach, it's on a performance-based contract, and it's just a coach, right? It ain't a manager; it's a coach. It's a performance-based contract with SLAs and KPIs, and basically, if they're not performing and meeting their standards, then it's a very minimal, low-cost payoff. So you
Yeah.
bump them out, you bump another one in. That's what all of these sides do, rather than having a manager, an all-encompassing manager with his expensive backroom staff, making all decisions about everything we buy and sell, who's serving in the canteen and everything else, and giving him a 3-year contract. And then if it goes wrong 6 months into that 3-year contract, you've got to pay the remainder of the 3-year contract, right?
Do you think though that Moyes, knowing that he's going in the summer, do you think there's an element that he's become even more sort of stubborn? Do you
Oh
think
yeah.
there's a,
Oh yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
Frank
100%.
Sinatra thing of I'm going to do it my way. If I know
Yeah.
I'm going to do exactly what I want. We know he's stubborn, but to me this season he seems more stubborn than ever.
It's another level. It's another level, and
to me,
what
it's
he's
the next
done.
level stubbornness has come out,
Yeah.
and there is a danger. This is the thing. There's got to be conversations going on behind the scenes. There's got to be players who are in and around our squad, who are on the periphery, who are massively unhappy. Somebody must be talking to them and saying, look, hang on, because Moyes is going in the summer. Because there's a lot of players that are unhappy. There's a lot of players that could possibly go, right?
Yeah.
And some with a new manager, surely they get a new lease of life. But if they go in January, they're not going to get the opportunity, are they?
No, they're not, and that's why that if I was to choose the way it would work, right? Nick touched on this. It would be give him December, give him January, wait for the players to come back from the AFCON. Hopefully, we'd be safe by then. We would have picked up a few more points. We'd be safe. We know where we're going in the cup. All right, or maybe wait till we're knocked out inevitably of the Europa League and the other cups, whatever. Wait until we've got nothing to play for and we're safe, and then maybe there's 10 games left, 5 games left. Then, if you have got this agreement with a new manager, as long as you don't have to wait till something. Well, in fact, bring the first team coach up to run affairs for the last 5 or 6 meaningless games and get him to try to get the players playing in a different way, try to include some of the youth team, give the fans something to get excited about some following season, give people a bit of hope. You know what I mean? Otherwise, the alternative is you have those last 5 games, meaningless games, with David Moyes playing the same damn system that he's played for the whole way through. And I agree with what you just said. That has always been my assertion from the start, from the first kick of this season. He despises Tim Steidten. He can't stand him. We now know that all that nonsense about looking happy at the party and taking photos and everything else was a charade. They do not like each other. What happened recently was he was told, Moyes, after one of the several games that we lost, he was told that he was reporting to Steidten, and he couldn't. That's it. You're reporting to Steidten, or go and walk. So he's reporting to Steidten. He still don't accept it. He was told that he'd go in at the end of the season. Don't accept it. Don't believe it. Because that's what narcissists have got: utter self-belief, 100% self-belief, and that ain't confidence. That is arrogance, right?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Just bring up this. I'm sure Fingerer is not his name on his birth certificate. It's become so fashionable to be Moyes out. People can't differentiate between good and bad performances anymore. That's exactly what we're doing now, mate. Because at the end of the day, I am an optimistic fan, right? And I'm calling it as it is. That was fucking dire.
John, we've got an example. We've got an example. Me and Nick are more negative than you, right?
Yeah.
We're more negative than you.
Yeah.
Go back and watch me and Nick in the post-Arsenal match reaction.
Oh, you was over the moon with it. Of course
We
you was,
were fucking gushing, not just about beating Arsenal, just about the way we played and having all the players in the right position and stuff like that. It was fantastic. We took the donkey off Moyes' head. I think we gave him a 9 out of 10. That's what we want to say. If he did that next week, if he did that against Palace on Sunday, same reaction. I guarantee it, right? But sadly, he's so damn predictable. We know what's coming.
Because this is a great comment from Wolf Central Gaming. We've said this before, Gal. Attacking in these kind of games could put less pressure on our defence. Attack is the best form of defence for us.
Yeah. But he don't believe it. He thinks sit back. He's he's still playing football like the back pass rule has not been outlawed. You know what I mean? It's you know what I mean. That's the way Arsenal used to defend, wasn't it? It's what they did.
John Murdoch says Fornals, Benny, Johnson, Cresswell, Oggy. These players aren't good enough anymore. You say we're not spending money, but I thought you said Tim was doing the buying and the selling.
John, hang on a minute, mate. He's just bought class, right?
Alvarez.
I'm sure we need a squad of 24 players, right? I'm sure things will change and most of these players will be going at the end of the season. You need senior players and they should be rotated and they should be used. Fornals wasn't crap in game one, but he's crap now. Go figure.
Let's look at my biggest bugbear at the minute. My biggest bugbear, you know what my biggest bugbear is at the minute with Nick and with a lot of people calling out James Ward-Prowse constantly, right?
Yeah.
Slagging him off because he's being made to look like a shit player now. He is being made to look like a one-trick pony.
Of course he is.
But it's because at the start of the season he was being played in a far more forward-thinking fashion. Now he is sitting deep and it doesn't suit him and he is looking like a one-trick pony because the only time he gets to do anything is when he has a free kick or a corner. So now it's highlighting that when that doesn't work, everyone's going, what else does he have? Well,
he hasn't got the
start of the season what he was doing.
Yeah, he hasn't got the physicality to be a central defensive midfielder. He hasn't got the strength. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the physicality. So why play him there, right? That just tells me when he plays him there that he's just trying to stock him up for set pieces. Like why don't he just shove him out on the left, let him be a left winger? Because all he does is all Paqueta is asked to do is cover the defender as well as Kudos over the other side. Give us a moment of magic, son. Give us a moment of magic. That's it. That's all he does. But Paqueta's more likely to get a moment of magic in the middle and win a game than he is stuck out on the left. Stick Ward-Prowse out on the left if you want to hide him and just keep him in the side for set pieces. Otherwise, play him in a position that suits him, which is a forward-looking attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
Right? Quick feet, can pick a pass.
I think what's happened with James Ward-Prowse is that because of the way he's being told to sit deeper, and now people may say I'm wrong, but I think he's sitting deeper.
Yeah.
He's almost not being scapegoated, but a lot of people are on him, and that's really fucking me off because the geezer's come into the club, he hit the ground running, and now he's hit a brick wall. And that's from no fault of his own. That is because he's being told to play in a position that doesn't suit him. So what is the point? Why did it change? We were speaking about this after the Burnley game. Why has the system that was sort of working well with him particularly, why has it been changed to not suit him?
I don't get it, John, because we played, if you remember those games that were in this order, right? It was Chelsea first, wasn't it? Because Chelsea first, because Alvarez came on at the end when we had a man sent off and helped us keep the 3 points. Do you remember? And then the following game was Brighton, where Alvarez started, Ward-Prowse started. Ward-Prowse was in an attacking midfield position. Antonio and Bowen were on fire with their finishing and their first touch and everything else. Ward-Prowse instinctively found a forward player with a pass every time he got hold of the ball, right? Alvarez was sitting there solo in front of the back four, not moving. Like I described his game in that post-Brighton video, the way he just seemed to scan the horizon and cut out danger. That is what he's brilliant at, absolutely brilliant at it. But if you're going to start getting him to take the ball forward and you're going to leave Ward-Prowse behind him to do the role that Alvarez is supposed to do, I've got to question your sanity. Well, you know, it's like he's got a system, he's got a matrix, right? It's the same as what he used to have at Everton. It's 4-1-4-1, basically, right? Always one striker up top, always four defenders generally, unless he
Yeah.
runs out of people and crams it, right? The one in front is Alvarez. Then it's kind of did midfielders. And when he talked about midfielders in that masterclass video, he's like, another midfielder in him. Even when he was talking about great midfielders like Arteta and people like, oh, it's another midfielder for the group, right? Didn't even talk about the one person he picked out and spoke about was the big lump, Fellaini, right? In that Everton side, right? But the one thing I'm going to remind you all of this, what I said the other week, Tony Hibbert was a terrible attacking left-sided player, right? But who was the left back that they had? The great who could take the free kicks, Everton.
Leighton Baines.
Leighton Baines. Leighton Baines used to play behind Tony Hibbert. Tony Hibbert could not get forward to save his life, right? But Moyes played him just so that when Leighton Baines went forward, Tony Hibbert would drop into.
He was basically a left back. He was a left back in the false position.
Well, he was supposed to be an attacking midfielder or a left-sided midfielder. He was no good at attacking, right? That is the way his mind works. And look at what he's tried to create again with the relationship between Paqueta and Emerson, right? Which is now broken down. People have cottoned onto it. Because they just get him into Paqueta's face, 2 men into Paqueta's face, from what I can see, and just shut him down. Because they give him when he's got 2 ways to go, Paqueta, you don't know which way he's going to go. When he's only got 1 way to go, he's quite predictable, isn't he?
Yeah, very true. Mike Davison here says, we play shit against shit. Look at Arsenal last night. They play against shit and destroy them. We just look like we can't be asked to go for the kill. But better teams rip their weaker opposition apart. And this is the thing. I think Mike's right there. We know that there's certain teams that we won't or possibly can't take the games to, right?
Yeah.
But when you play these other teams who we should be beating or we should be taking the game to, why are we not? And it can only come from Moyes. And I get it, right? His system has brought him relative success at Everton and relative success at West Ham.
Yeah.
But if you've got no flexibility and you've got no plan B, then you're going to make yourself look a fool, And that's what I'm worried. That's what bothers me. Is that Moyes is taking away all the credit that he earned. I know people are going to say what credit, but let's not pretend Seville and all these nights didn't happen. I know they're 2 years ago now, and I know
were fantastic.
Last season, but
Seville,
he is ruining
the memory of it.
He's ruining the memories, and that's what's going to happen. And this is what I was concerned about. I didn't want him to go because I hated him or disliked him. I almost wanted him to go for his own good. No, I totally agree.
And that is exactly where I was, right? Because that last season, like the World Cup, right? Yeah. It took me up until the World Cup to say Moyes out. I went all that time, the previous year or something like that, put up with it. It was a crap season. I went all the way to World Cup. I thought, I've had enough. Can't take it anymore. And I stayed in that position. And John, you turned even later than that, right?
Yeah, mine was Crystal Palace at home in December, I think.
Yeah, you turned even later than that. And we've been the same as since, because to my mind, it takes us a long time to turn. But once you turn...
I was always hopeful that it'd change it. I was always hopeful that he'd see what we were suggesting. And we're not the experts. We're not being paid to do it. Of course, we're not experts, but we're football fans and we're no mugs. We watch enough football. And if you're not prepared to change it up, then I just sort of think you're making a rod for your own back. And that's what he's done now.
You know what it is? The thing that drives me mad more than anything is just, and we've known this for 3 years, right? He is so predictable.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We've become too predictable. Sam's made a good point here. Yeah. On a little bit of a positive note. Now, Cornet. Cornet, I've been questioning him, and I've been sort of making a mockery of him. I've seen him more in his Lamborghini than I've seen him on the pitch for West Ham at times. Yeah. Lads, can we talk about how Cornet looked when he came on? Looked decent, but we all know we ain't going to see him again for a while. And I agree with you. The cross he put in was a brilliant cross, and it was one of minimal decent service that any of our forwards or attacking midfielders had throughout the game. It was a fantastic cross, and we know Sushik was on the end of it. And this is the thing now. He's had a little bit of a glimmer of it, but is it just going to be door shut as of next week again?
Because he's put it into context, Sam. He's come on as a very late substitute against Bakatopola. That shows you what importance he has to David Moyes, right? Did Moyes put him on there to win the game? Maybe he said, "Oh, he's throw another attacker into the mix, whatever." Yeah. The thing is, Cornet before he came to us was a good player, and especially for Leon, he was a good player as well, and for Burnley. He scored some cracking goals, like Nick said, I went and watched that show reel we mentioned. He's at one point a very, very good player. He's not old.
No.
It's just he's out of favour and he can't get near the first team. He ain't even the 5th substitute in the first team in the Premier League, right?
Yeah. Clive Marcus says, realistically, we are acting like the grass is going to be greener post Moyes. It probably won't be. We won't get a manager like Alonso or someone like that.
Well, there is no grass. It's a dystopian wasteland, Clive. So it's got to be greener than this. That's what I'll say.
And I would say to some extent, a change is as good as a rest. And some of them players to me, who I know have ability, who I know have more to give the club, I know a lot of them, with a change of manager, could possibly come good. And I'm not going to give up hope on them. I'm not talking about people like Cresswell or Bonner. I agree that they're past it now. I totally agree that they're past it. But when you've got players like Fornals, loves the club, you've got Cornet, who, you're right, I've watched these goals at Burnley. Some of his goals were fantastic. He played for Lyon. He can't be a mug if he played for Lyon. Some of these players will get better opportunities and maybe feel the love from a new manager. The problem is possibly what Moyes has done is he's created a divide that cannot be breached, that cannot be fixed. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't always believe everything I hear or rumours that you might hear about fallouts and such. But when you see the squad players given an opportunity and they are constantly shit, it does make you wonder.
It does, and you don't know what it is. I think it's a mixture of both. I think the lights of Fornals, his head's gone, right? His confidence, or he's not interested in doing anything for Moyes, or he's just out of match practice. I don't think he would just deliberately play badly because he does love the fans, he does love the club. That can't be doubted, right? There's no doubt about that. Benny, I think, is the same as well. I think he loves the fans and the club. Always had a good relationship, but his art clearly ain't in it. I mean, his final ball's even worse than it ever was, isn't it?
Yeah. I just want to say, people in the chat, right? Alfie, West Ham Online, we welcome him into the chat. He has phoned up a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just be a bit respectful, because at the end of the day, it's Alfie's opinion. I do think he's a little bit of a wind-up merchant, but when he comes on the phone calls, I think he's been nothing but, he's been nothing but polite, and he gets his point across well, whether you agree with it or not. So football's a game of opinions. I don't agree with everything Alfie says, but I'm sure he don't agree with everything I say.
And look, let's come away from this thing of when you disagree with someone, telling her a stupid fuck or having a go at them or getting personal, right? Because it's boring now. It's boring.
Yeah, well, Alfie is a stupid fucker. I'm joking.
No, but any boring and unnecessary. You wouldn't say that to some. For instance, if you're in a conversation with someone, if I'm with you, John, and we're having a drink, and I'll say to you saying, you don't turn around and say, "Shut up, you stupid fucking," do you?
No, I didn't do that to Nick.
yeah, me too.
Ian Legg says, get Moyes out now. Heitinga as caretaker. Watch the players completely change. Atmosphere in ground would also change. The bloke is useless, stubborn, and doesn't care about West Ham or our fans.
That's another thing. The atmosphere in that stadium, it is dead. It's flat. It's so flat. And honestly, I know it takes something to happen on the pitch. And this is the same at Upton Park, right? It took something to happen on the pitch to generate an atmosphere. There's literally no events on the pitch. It goes without
saying. If you're watching a boxing match and one of the boxers starts laying in a few fucking punches to the jaw, the crowd get up for it, don't they?
Yeah. You know what? In the second half, right? I was sitting there. I went and got some biscuits and a cup of tea.
Found another scratch on your glasses.
No. I went and get some biscuits and a cup of tea, and I sat down. I thought, watch the second half. Players come out, picked my tea up, and then Blue, my boxer dog, was sitting there in front of me because I had biscuits, right? And he had 2 dribbles coming down the side of his face, out of his chops, and I was trying to see which one would win, right?
Oh, fuck
and that was more entertaining than watching that football.
Fucking, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
Chris Haywood says, I'm off now, Gary. I'm going to watch Nigel Farage eat a kangaroo penis. Certainly more entertaining than watching a shower of shit this evening.
It's very fitting for Nigel Farage to eat a kangaroo penis.
Well, when you know people want to watch Farage more than West Ham, then you've got problems, don't you?
Oh, dear God. Bloody hell.
Yeah, we have got problems. Where are we? Let's have a look at some more comments. Where are we? I only come on here for the updates on Gary's shed.
Yeah, it's finished. It's finished.
Fuck me. Thank fuck for that.
Yeah.
Mark Watson says, this is a great point. If we were all standing together in the stadium, we would be buddies supporting our beloved team.
This is what I tried to say on that video the other week, right? When I was talking about the nonsense on Twitter, I was just saying I've never fallen out face to face with a West Ham fan. I've always had good relationships with people because face to face, you're more respectful. You've got an interaction, right? You go with a flow. It's how people talk, right? It ain't normal to talk the way people on Twitter, like you give an opinion and someone says, "Shut up, you must be a fucking not," you know what I mean? You just don't act like that. And these people, if they do act like that, they must get punched a lot. That's all I'm saying. But they don't act like that, do they?
They don't indeed. Hammers Mikey says that game was flatter than my ex-bird's tits. That game was pancake flat with a drizzle of lemon standing on the sidelines. Oh, lemon being Moyes. Brilliant, Hammers Mikey. You should be
he was in his winter gear. That was like it was like Action Man. That was the Moyes winter look tonight, wasn't it?
It was indeed. David Granger says, remember when Moyes was sick? We played brilliant attacking football and he moaned when he returned.
Yeah.
I do remember that actually when he was off.
Yeah, well, his assistant did really well, didn't he?
Who was it?
Was it Irvin?
Irvin, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Irvin then. Sammy Oak says, it's getting to the point where I would rather shit in my hands and clap than watch us at the moment. It's always my analogy for most things.
Yeah, I'm going, I've got this thing. I was talking to Chris earlier. I'll speak to Chris. Chris, who just left to watch Nigel Farage. I was speaking to him earlier on WhatsApp, and he's just totally the same. He's in the same place as me, right? Well, literally in the same place as me, and he's in the same stand as me, right? In the Bobby Moore lower, and he's just ready. There's just you don't know what to look for. It's freezing cold outside. You can stay in a nice warm house. You don't have to travel all the way down there. All the crowds, get your seat, buy an extortionate whatever you're going to buy. Pay 25 quid for some chips with a drizzle of cheese and chili on top, right? And then walk back after you've seen the team snatch a late winner in the 97th minute. That to me is not a day out enjoying myself.
No, and the thing is that I take my son to the games. He's 12 years of age. He's 12 years of old. 12 years old. 12 years of old. He's 12 years old. And the thing is with my boy is he loves football. And I have noticed in recent weeks he has been clock watching. He has been sort of, should we go? And I don't like it. And I'm like, no, you've got to stay. You can't leave a game early because I never leave a game early. And I never have left the game early. And I've seen West Ham get hammered in the past, Gal. You know what I mean?
But like I was saying today, like I was drifting off, like going to a happy place in my mind while the game was on, right? Yeah. I do that inside the ground as well.
Yeah.
I just find myself staring at something or looking into the middle distance, because literally nothing's happening on the pitch. Just ain't worth watching, right? Or having a chat or talking stupid.
Lewis says, I wonder if it's the coaching and what we do in training. Why do so many players underperform so often? It's like we need to play someone on our level or above to turn up and have a go. Well, we've been talking, haven't we? And this is not my opinion. I'm not going to say whose opinion it is. But the main opinion coming from our WhatsApp group is that this has not been coached. We literally, no coaching is done at all.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Apparently this style of football does not need coaching. So
this is a system, like I was saying earlier, this is a system, a 4-1-4-1. He will put any players into those 4-1-4-1s. It doesn't have to be a left back and a left back. It can be a left back playing as a right winger, whatever the spare space. The system will not change, right? Players over system. The only time he's changed it recently is the first half against Brentford when he went 4-4-2 because he had two of his best players missing, right? And he knew he had to do something against Brentford or he'd get hurt. But the default position with players available is to fit anything into those positions. That is the way it is, right?
Yeah. Fortune's hiding down under. If this geezer keeps moaning about living in Australia, he's going to get on my fucking lip. 3:45 a.m. in a country that I decided
you got up,
to
Ryan, at 3:45 a.m. to watch that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm laughing on the outside.
Yeah, but
I'm crying inside.
You know what I say to counter that, Gary? He was probably 80-degree heat, living by a sea.
Yeah, I know.
By the sand. He had sand between his toes. He's probably got a swimming pool in his garden, and he has the cheek to come on here and fucking moan. It's -1 over here, mate.
But it's Ryan. He's an upmarket hairdresser, so he used to cut the players' hair and stuff like that, right? So he would have perfect hair even if he woke up at 3:45 in the morning. He's probably got products that keeps it exactly right. Yeah.
Right, let's see what else we've got in the chat. Any other comments? JKL says they look like, or they are just 11 players chucked on the pitch and expected to work. So I think JKL saying they're given no direction and just say, get on, do whatever. But actually, I don't agree with that. They can't be, because if they were told to just go on and do whatever, you might actually see a little bit of flair and a little bit more cohesion, because at the minute it doesn't look cohesive to me.
Is all it was tonight was swap out the players into the same system, literally, right? That's all it was. And those players most of them ain't got had much first team. Let's face it, Mabama only played half an hour of first team the other day, did really well. Now he's expected to start a game and run around like Antonio.
Well, that's the concern. The concern for me is, and it has always been, that if you play him, you are in danger of, a young kid.
His belief.
He's a confident young kid, but it won't take long for him to lose confidence, because if he's getting no service, then he's going to be running around like headless chicken. I mean, there is an element of me that sort of thinks, I know we want him in the team, but the problem is that I can foresee that if this continues, then it could actually damage him. It could lose his confidence and lose all his, what he's built up, his reputation.
Nick called this out earlier in the season. He said you would destroy Mabama if you put him in this team. And then, to be honest, I got so desperate watching Ings. I wanted to see Obama. I think probably the substitute appearances from Obama is the best way, right? Because he can come on when the defense is a little bit tired with his energy and his youth.
Yeah, like he did against Burnley. He changed the game somewhat against Burnley, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think you're right there. Obviously, Antonio's out, but we've got other players that can, maybe do the role temporarily.
Of course.
Bowen, or I don't know really, but because Bowen, it worked on one of his appearances there, but the second one he was a bit piss poor, wasn't it?
Is he back on Sunday? Well, no, it works strong when you. It works with Bowen when you're playing against a team that ain't sitting deep. When they're playing high, I think it's all right. It works fine,
right. Yeah.
But when they're sitting deep with two big whopping centre halves,
I think they're literally waiting to see if the swelling goes down, isn't they? Is that what I've heard?
I think so. Yeah.
Right, which would mean he'd probably be rushed back and he'd probably have a few.
Well, it's dangerous, though, isn't it? We read about that thing like fluid on the knee. It can be so many things. I just hope they've got the best doctors and the best medical staff. I hope they know exactly what it is and they haven't missed something that suddenly flares up into a bigger thing.
Yeah, this is a great point from John. All Johns have got great points, obviously. All 4 subs were swapped like for like because Moyes really has the nous to change the system. This has always been my biggest bugbear. We can go back since we started this channel, Gal. The amount of times we said, just please go 2 up front. And it's, we can count on one hand the amount of times we've gone 2 up front. And this is the thing, Moyes is a fool to himself sometimes.
It's worked almost every time he's done it. First half against Brentford till he got way out of his depth against Thomas Frank, who just made a couple of tweaks and tore us apart. No, he didn't play 2 up front against Arsenal, but Fulham last year when we won after that terrible run, a must-win game, that was 2 up front. That was Ings and Antonio, believe it or not.
So Colin Miller says, I feel sorry for the away supporters to put the leg into the matches only to turn up and have the upbeat while watching that shit. Now, our friend Dodsey, he goes to every game, home and away, every European game, and he's made his way out.
Friendlies as well, home and away, pre-season friendlies as well. He goes to every fixture.
Everything. Right? I mean, the geezers.
But you can see why he goes though, right? We all love going to away games because it's a social, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
And the football's just a little bit of it. And look, he can say, I went to Serbia to watch West Ham against so he's got it on his list of, you can tick that one off now. Don't think I'll go twice, but I can see the reason for going once. Yeah. But it's like a big group of them who go and have a drink and they make a couple of days of it and it's fun, right? So the football's 90 minutes in amongst like a 3-day trip.
It is, but then the football is more so becoming secondary because you're sort of expecting it to be shit.
Yeah. Well, that's what was happening. That's what was happening last season. I was going out because I've lost a bit of weight this season because I was getting too fat and I decided to stop drinking quite so much. And what I was doing, I was going out drinking before every game last season, meeting down at Hackney Wick, getting quite drunk, and that helped me enjoy the games. Yeah, right. If I'm honest, and this season having to watch them sober is a tough. It's tough.
No. What's this one? Sean Smith says, "Where are we? Sorry." Sean Smith says, I've heard Zuma doesn't train much. The question is, do the rest of the squad?
Well, Zuma doesn't train as in impact training, like five-a-sides and stuff at all. He does fitness training because obviously he's got to stay fit, right? But his knees are broken. You can tell he can't run. He can't run.
He's like Paul McGrath. Remember Paul McGrath
Yeah.
back in the day? Never trained.
Yeah.
Villa and Man United centre back, similar to that, really. Dan the Hammer says, why does our whole attacking idea come only from the wings? Irony is we never score a goal through the middle like Bowen did in the ECL final.
I know.
Yeah,
It's funny. That's a good spot, actually. It's a good observation, Dan. But yeah, absolutely right. It's usually an overlapping player that crosses it in, and it's usually one of the fullbacks, or it's a Ben. Very rarely we've got a left winger crossing with his left foot. Or a right winger crossing because they're
they all come
wingers.
inside, don't they? Inverted wingers. See, this is a concern of me. Now, Keith, I'm not slagging you off, mate. You're entitled to your opinion, but Keith says maybe all you guys who have been calling for Mubama can see now why Moyes is holding back on throwing him in. Now, Keith, sorry, Gal. What I'd say to that is, Keith, what service did he get tonight, and what service does any striker get this season? Particularly, let's talk about this season. What service have any of our strikers been given this season?
Literally none. Literally none.
Literally none. So I'm not going to.
Listen, right, Keith, we get desperate, mate. You got to understand it because you watch it and you think, oh God, this got to get better in it. Like the game the other day, Burnley. Oh, please bring Mubama on, and he came on. And to be fair, him and Kudus and Suchek in the end, they did change the game. Especially Mubama, his influence in the middle, it meant they had someone else to mark, right? And that was perfect. But I think after seeing him on the team sheet tonight, I was quite excited by it.
Yeah.
But 20 minutes in, I'm watching him, and he's literally just chasing defenders around, trying to get a bit of the ball, and that is what Antonio does.
Yeah, Matty B says no. Keith, wasn't Mubama playing badly? He got no service as usual, like other strikers we have. Totally agree.
But the thing is, it's so objective, John, with certain things, objective and stats based with certain people. It's like player not scored goal, bad player. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, this is why I've always said, and sorry to keep going on about it. This is why I always say that Antonio needs a massive pat on the back because he has scored all them goals. I know he hasn't scored for ages now, but he scored all them goals the previous 2 seasons on the back of being on his own and getting fuck all service. So,
like he says, living off scraps.
And people slagged him off for that podcast, right? And I know the timing.
He was only
of
telling
the release.
The truth. Yeah.
The release of it wasn't great. The timing of it, I don't think he had any control over that. But it was 100% true. He's not. He knows his limitations. He is not a world-class striker, right? But he's used to living off scraps. And somebody like Skamaka or Haller, who are internationals to some extent, they're not going to be prepared to do that.
That's right. They also use Antonio as an outball, right? Because he drops deep and he gives the midfield someone to pass to. He gives the ball back and then they launch a counter attack. That's one of our tactics, our stock tactics when Antonio's in the team. I don't think that works with Ings because he very rarely gets a touch on the ball. I didn't see them even try it with Mubama. It was just the other part of the job, which is we'll sort of ump the ball up vaguely just in your direction, just run around and see if you can get something on it. Because
Matthew Johnson, sorry, Gal,
Matthew
Johnson, we won silverware for fuck's sake. You should be ashamed. I'd much rather play terrible and win than play well and lose.
These people are so judgmental of other people. You should be ashamed, Matthew, for making a judgment and telling us that we should be ashamed of ourselves. Go fuck yourself, mate. Right. Anyway, next. Go on.
I've decided I've nothing.
Yeah.
I've decided I know nothing about football anymore.
I'm not in a good mood, John. You might have seen.
Is that because you've got the scratch on your glasses?
Yeah.
Sam Oak says, I think going to the game makes it more bearable because watching it on TV makes it worse because you can see what is going on, or should I say what is not going on. That's interesting because sometimes we go to games and Nick watches it on the telly and Nick has a little bit of a contrasting take on it than we have. And I sort of get that to some extent. But at the end of the day, there's no getting away from shit performances, whether you're in the stadium or not. And I think we know overall when West Ham have been good or bad. But I sort of get what he means.
Sorry, Matt, let me just say, look, Matt, bit out of order, sorry. But don't start saying we should be ashamed of ourselves. It's like it's like you're a school teacher talking down to a little kid, right? We're not little kids. We're describing what we see, right? You don't have to agree with us. Don't fucking patronize us.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not ashamed of
No,
my
I'm not.
opinions.
I agree with my
Me and Gary
opinions.
are very happy that we won that
Yeah,
trophy last year. Of course we are. Brilliant winning
yeah,
silverware. I've never
yeah,
seen it in my life,
yeah,
but I will still tell you when it's shit and when it's good, and that's how it works, and that's how it should work.
yeah,
Your opinions should not be continuously blinkered by
yeah,
previous. You have to tell it as
yeah,
it is. There's no point lying. You're just
yeah.
kidding yourself, really. You're just kidding
What's the
yourself.
point in doing a channel if you're going to just have fake opinions, right?
It's not even a channel thing. It's just
No,
football
but
in
no, but we
general,
just
Gal. You know what I
what I'm
mean?
saying is when we're talking about football, John, we could be
Yeah,
talking down the pub. We'd be exactly the same. We don't really put on any
that's what
airs
I'm
and
saying,
graces.
Sam.
No, there's no act, right?
Yeah,
We are what
that.
we are.
I'm saying exactly here what I'd say down
Yeah,
the pub or in a curry house or whatever it is. So
yeah.
what's this one? Balloon Diolson. Haaland would struggle in this team. Easy to knock Ings or Mubama, but how many chances do they miss? They don't miss many chances because they get no fucking chances. Exactly.
Haaland misses quite a lot of chances.
That's it. He does miss a lot, doesn't he?
He wouldn't get any chances with us. Can you imagine
No.
that? Right, go out there, Alfie. I want you to go out there, chase centre halves around, mate.
Mike Davison, who's put another comment
Yeah.
up. My local Asda's desperate for overnight shelf replenishers. Moyes, get your ginger bollocks down to Shoebury and crack on.
Yeah.
English Yardie, the thing that makes me happy is knowing the Pillock will be gone in the summer.
Yeah.
You don't have to call him a Pillock.
Well, he is. He's a pillock.
Lee Latmere, I didn't even notice we had changed strikers. They are never in the game.
Yeah.
Well, it's true, though, isn't it? The strikers are all just sort of running around aimlessly.
Strikers are just, to Moyes, they're not strikers who we give service to score goals. They're just a player at the end of the pitch. They're like the uppermost defender is the striker, right? In Moyes' eyes, because I'm sure since Souček started playing his number 10 role, that the striker is there literally to get a touch on it so that Souček can pick up the second ball. I'm pretty sure that's the tactic.
Oh no, look, Nick's not here to mention Big Ange, but Malcolm will do it for him. We desperately need a change of manager. Look how Postecoglou is doing things around at Spurs.
I went to this event the other day, right, down near the O2, and I took some clients out to lunch, and one of them is a friend of mine who supports Spurs. He goes over there a lot, right, and he lives up that way, and he was out in, I think it was like, I was at a restaurant at a party, and there was, who's that? Madison was in there because it was someone he knew, their birthday party, right, and someone was taking the piss. He wasn't a Spurs supporter out of Madison. He gave him some banter back, and then Alan, this guy, just started talking to him some Spurs. So he said, come and sit down, right? So this is like, he spent 45 minutes having a beer, only one beer, with Madison. No, he bought the drink for Madison, right?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, but I know. But he said basically, what's he like? Because there's a lot of contrarian views outside. People, and he said, I'll tell you, he said he's a proper hard ass. He said he comes across on telly as this happy-go-lucky.
I can imagine what he's like. Yeah.
He said he is so focused on the detail, it is unbelievable, right? But it is a pleasure to work for him because he just keeps you. You're just buzzing all the time because he just new things, new ideas, new ways of playing. But it's all about getting after the other team, and that's exactly what football players want to do. Really, in the heart of hearts.
I think so. Look, I want the geezer to fail at Spurs, of course I do. But I mean, it does look good, and he does look good. And a lot of the stuff I've seen a lot of behind the scene clips looks good for him as well. But I still want him to fucking
listen,
fail.
can I just say exponential anger, right? Listen, when I'm in a bad mood, I can't help it. When I'm in a bad mood and someone patronizes me, sometimes I'm gonna be. And what did that say? I had the ump, and then someone says, "You should be ashamed of yourselves for holding." Come on, I'm not going to react well, am I? That ain't face to face, is it? That is someone typing something that it's the only way to react, really, isn't it? All right, in future, I'll say thank you. I am ashamed. All right, is that suit you better? I don't know.
Colin Miller says, I'm a season ticket holder. I sit there week in, week out, and the commentary's in my head. Then I watch it on the telly, and the commentators don't say what I'm thinking.
No,
honestly, it's worse on TV.
You know, I don't even listen to the commentators. I turn it down so I can hear the crowd, but I don't really listen to the commentary. I did hear Joey Cole at half time tear into him.
See, I didn't listen to none of the halftime analysis, so
No, I didn't. But it cut to Joey Cole, and I caught that bit. He tore him a new one. He said that something along the lines of that was diabolical.
Oh, Scamacca scored again tonight. Apparently 5 in 8 he's got now.
Well, he's a great player, and he will be Italy's number 9 for many, many years, and a great international goal scorer that David Moyes couldn't find a place in his team for.
What is this on about here? Virgil, do you like 2.5 Men?
Oh, that's sitcom.
I haven't seen it. I need to finish.
I used to watch it. It was good before that until they replaced what's his name with what's his name. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you're on about, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Jamie Tideman says, Jonathan David, buy him, 22 goals last season. We've been linked with him every year, haven't we, for the last bloody 3?
We have, and I don't know if we're going to buy anybody. Listen, I've got a hunch that I've got a sneaking feeling that if Tim finds a bargain, we will find the money, because why turn down a bargain no matter what time of year it is, right?
I think the players we're going to be getting in the summer are obviously going to be for the new manager. How much input he has in that is probably.
How long we've been going? Read a few more comments. We knock it off we'll
go off in a minute. We'll go through a few more comments. We're going to go off in a minute, people, because it's only a short one on these days.
Yeah.
Where are we? Let's have a look.
I got it out of my system anyway. I feel a little bit better now. Look calmer.
Can't stand the modern commentary teams. Tick box exercise, not the best for the job. I see what you're trying to say. Epic Cash Time says Moyes wouldn't know what to do with Jonathan.
He wouldn't. He'd tell him to chase centre halves. Go on, Jonathan. Up you go. Chase them centre halves.
Moyes could ruin Haaland if he had him as our striker. I think there's a common theme coming on here.
I don't think Haaland would get in a team. I got to be honest.
Thomas Barnard says the under-21s would have beaten that team easily. Obviously, he's talking about back top.
I had the same thought when I saw those 3 outstanding Chesters, Earthy, and who's the other one on the bench? Skulls. They're like 3 of the top boys in that team, right? And I think that team we played are no better than a League 2 team like that Cheltenham that they just ruined 4-0 away, right? I think you put those 3 young stars into that team away at Bakatopola, I think they don't have a problem.
I think Thomas literally means the whole under-21 team, and
I think you could. Yeah.
Well, we spoke about this before. The rest of the teams in the academy setup, they are playing a different style to the first team, which is highly unusual, because what you do with academy players is you breed them.
Bring back Mickey Smith.
Mickey Smith. You breed the academy players to play in the style of the first team, so that if and when they're needed, if there's an injury crisis or whatever, they can come straight into the team and play. Hit the ground running. So the fact that our first team is disjointed from the way the rest of the academy is playing is quite surprising, really.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are putting 2 and 2 together, aren't they? You know what I mean?
They're playing all that frilly attacking football, though, John. What use is that to David Moyes? You know.
Yeah. Should we go before anyone else?
I think we're at 1:13. Yeah. I think we're done, aren't we? So look,
we're coming out fucking
John hates me.
Mickey Smith. John hates me. Mickey Smith, aka Piercy, aka Joe Pasquale, aka.
Oh, look at this! That's insulting. Flip me! What a snooze fest! Ah, it's nasty, isn't it? Nasty.
West Ham, not you, girl. She's talking about West Ham.
I hope so. Right. I think we're done. Well, thanks very much. Hope the next game's better, eh? Palace Sunday. Hope you're going. I'm going. If I have to go, you lot have to fucking go as well, right? So.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, and
hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We're trying to get to 10K by the end of the year. It takes bloody ages, but we appreciate your company, bearing with us.
Snazzy Azzy has been my favourite commenter of the evening.
Yeah, Snazzy Azzy.
Yeah. Oh,
great chat of old bollocks, boys. I like it.
Alfie Online's going to be at West Ham. See you there, Alfie. Come and have a beer. Tight.
Yeah.
I bet he won't buy one.
Yeah, I bet he won't. Yeah. Anyway, look, see you later all. Have a good rest of the week.
Yeah. Come on, you Irons. Let's get better Sunday, eh? Let's
Yeah.
get back to Sunday.
I've got to find the outro, John. Hang on a
Oh,
minute.
for God's sake, you're like Nick.
I know. I'm not very professional. Hold on. Let's look around. I've got backgrounds. I've got video clips. It's one of the video clips, isn't it? Outro. Right, here we go. See you all.
Take care, people. All good.